Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this roundtable from Arlington, Texas. We just got done with round number 10, our first stop here in Arlington, and thought it would be fun to get some of the riders on the line. Cameron McAdoo is with us. He was not on the post-race press conference. He was a little busy last night after the race, doing something kind of cool. And but we got a lot of other riders on. We got Chisholm, Anstey, Sexton, Savachi, Bloss. It's going to be a good one. All right, guys, let's get going. I'll start with you, Cameron. Since we didn't get a chance to talk to you last night, just kind of take us through that main event. Not the best start, but you were able to kind of fight your way through. You and Justin Cooper went back and forth in a really cool battle. You get on the podium, which I know you want more than that, but at the same time, in the championship perspective, you end up pulling away a little bit. Got a couple points on Cooper. So just take us through that main event and how it went for you.
Yeah, totally. It was a terrible start for me. I jacked it right away. So I was probably mid-pack, and going down that first couple rhythm lanes, when you're mid-pack, it was sketchy. So I was stoked to get out of that on two wheels. But yeah, I felt like I rode pretty well to get up to – once I get into third, though, I struggled to make anything really happen. Those first two guys were already kind of a little bit away from me, and they were riding super good too. So, yeah, I kind of stayed there. And then with probably 4 laps to go, I think I maybe had a 2-second gap on Cooper, and I got into a little tangle with a lapper in the whoops, and then I missed the quad line in that same lap. So he got right on my rear wheel and made a pass on me, and then I cut underneath him after the triple, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit for the last two laps for the last spot on the podium. So that was I ended up getting third, and that was good because that's a 4-point swing, and it's a podium. So that was I was stoked on that, and yeah, stoked on just being able to stay composed. And it was my first time in this situation, right, with the red plate and with some momentum coming off of Daytona. So I was happy with the way I held myself, and I look forward to racing Tuesday.
Congratulations, man. It was a good ride. Darkside, I'll come to you first, but I want to sneak one in for Chase Sexton. Chase, what's worse, overdriving the green or over jumping a double?
I would say the consequences on overdriving a green is a lot safer than what I did last week. So face is healing, got my stitches out on Friday, so got my tooth back, so we're feeling good.
Nice.
Yeah, no problems here.
Looking good. All right, Darkside, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to go to Kyle Chisholm. True privateer. Every year your program comes together late. You're putting together sponsors for yourself, like blood lubricants, X-brand goggles. Every year you're doing this, and you're making mains. I mean, talk about the struggle of being a true privateer, a vet, and you're pretty much almost guaranteed, it feels like, to make a main, but not getting the support that I feel like you deserve.
First of all, I don't know if it's definitely not guaranteed to make a main. There's so many good guys every year, but this year actually was a little bit better for me, being on the same bike, getting some Yamaha support. So it was earlier, still not ideal, but earlier than the past couple of years have been. So I think riding better than I have the last couple of years, and that's just just because of that, being on the same bike, same program, for the most part, same sponsors, and kind of able to carry over from building off of last year. So, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, these are the best racers in the world, and I'm old. I've been doing this a long time, and but I'm still learning. I still enjoy it. I like the process. I like the work, and the challenge. So I think that's what kind of keeps me out there and try to mix it up with these guys and not get in their way too much, but race with them a little bit.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
David Iser.
Thanks, Daniel. Chase, Sexton, I was going to ask you how you're doing, man, but I don't feel bad for you anymore that you're on the golf course. I'm missing the players, watching the players for this press conference. Hey, what was the thought process working your way up to the wall jump last week? And did your coach, James Stewart, have anything to do with it?
Yeah, so obviously I rode press day last week, and I kind of thought it was possible. The wall was pretty flat compared to like a real wall, so I knew the gap was doable. I just didn't know how it was really going to shoot me, and obviously it shot me way longer than I thought it was going to. And yeah, 10 feet shorter or 10 feet longer, it would have been a whole different story.
And were you coached by James for that move?
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely encouraging it. He definitely wasn't shying away from it at all. But no, I mean, I like to jump. I've always been a jumper, and it was kind of me self-driven. I wanted to do it. I feel like it would have been a lot faster if I could have got it down, but obviously the result was not not worth what I did.
I'm glad you're all right. Back to you.
Thank you.
Michael Antonovich.
Cool. Thanks, Daniel. This one will be for Joey Sabachi. Joey, you've made some big changes recently, moving from Tallahassee and everything down to the 83 compound and riding with more guys. How is it for you to surround yourself with people that are on the same motorcycle as you, with Justin Bogle and Jason Anderson, but then some young guys like the Lawrence brothers, to kind of give yourself a positive influence on everything going on?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously with Star buying the farm, I really was kind of out of a home in a way. And for me, I felt like it was time to make a change and to have the opportunity to go down south, to be in Claremont and to ride with those guys that you named has been really helpful. Jason wasn't there at the beginning, so I missed out on Jason being there. And then Justin is he's the recent addition to the squad. So obviously Jet and Hunter were down there pretty much the whole time I was, give or take. But as soon as Jason got down there, it was for me it was a game changer. It took a little while for things to catch up, but having somebody around that is as good as they are helps you whether you know it or not. On those days that you don't really want to. Not that you don't want to do the work, but you feel like you're maxed out. When someone's there going faster, you always find that little bit more that you felt like you didn't have. So, and on top of that, the vibe is really good. So the group of people that we have is awesome. We have a good time, but we also take it very serious and make sure to get our work done. So, man, all in all, it's been a good switch.
Thanks, George.
Kellen Brower.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Kellen Brower here with Racer X. I'm going to go to Cameron here. When Jordan crashed right in front of you in the main event there, how were you able to kind of react so quick to that? And did that kind of take you out of your groove because you were working to those guys pretty quick and then you kind of settled into third a little bit?
Yeah, I think he went inside across that back lane in the end zone, and I think his rear wheel slid out the top and he landed backwards on the landing, and I was pretty much already taken off. So I was in the air, and luckily I kind of, as I was taking off, knew that he was on his way to crashing. So I checked up and I landed right where he was. I on my brakes and stopped, and I had to stop right in the middle of the track. I was lucky that I didn't hit him or run him over. So that was pretty unfortunate, but good the way it ended up. But yeah, it did I felt like it obviously put me a few seconds back, and I kind of was off those first couple guys then. So, but yeah, that was kind of just a weird deal, but luckily I didn't hit him.
Brad Gephardt.
Thanks. Brad Gebhardt, Big MX Radio. Let's talk to Max Anstey. Max, first full year on Supercross on a 450. Take us through your progression and how comfortable you're feeling racing a Supercross on a 450. And with these races back to back to back, how are you relying on some of your teammates, exclusion of course, the 7 double deuce, which has to create a different atmosphere on race day, but just your ability to react as quickly as you can to adapt to the track, especially with these quick 1, 2, 3 races where the track's changing quite a bit and there's not a lot of opportunities for testing.
Well, I think to be honest, these 3 this week, I'm actually looking forward to just having the same environment. I've only done 3 rounds. That was my 3rd race, 450 Supercross. It's gnarly. Orlando was way different. Daytona was way different, and this one, I just not what I'm expecting. We don't have a test track. Again, I don't get to go and ride at the 83 compound or anywhere in Florida. I'm riding around Lake Elsinore and Star West back in Southern California, and then I come to the races and I'm like, okay, this is nothing like what the races are like. So it's a difficult one because on outdoors, I've got a lot of experience with GPs, and I can kind of actually now realize, you know, when like Villapoto went to Europe, or when guys go to Europe and race GPs, and you watch them struggle a little bit, I can understand that now, because I've got such a feel, and I know exactly what to do with a bike in those sort of situations. Whereas here, like even this weekend, I hit the whoops, and like I've never actually. I was thinking every track that I've ridden has always had a set of whoops out of a turn. Like I haven't actually hit a set of whoops with a bit of speed, and I didn't really know what to do. I know it's kind of weird, and I'm kind of racing around with these guys, but I'm kind of just finding myself in them, and then I'm like, okay, I'm like messing stuff up. But again, I'm learning. I'm getting my laps in. I know I'm not racing yet, and I'm not fully comfortable, but I'm getting the jumps done. I'm getting the obstacles down, and I'm in there. There's a lot to learn, obviously. Obviously, yeah, you know, obviously Adam is not around, and Brandon, my other teammate, he didn't get into the main this week, so it's a little bit tough, because I'm trying to tell the team what I want to feel, but then sometimes I don't know what I want to feel, because I don't know if I just need to go faster, or if it's the bike, or if it's a bit of, and I think it's a bit of a combination of everything, you know. And I can understand like what Joey Savaggi was saying, like, you know, being around the good guys and having good teammates and good information. You know, if you've got a teammate that's getting fifth, then there's no reason why you can't do it. So it's fine to get on the bike and just make it happen. Whereas at the moment, I'm like, geez, I don't really know a few things. So honestly, though, I'm loving it. I'm loving America. I'm loving Supercross. That stadium was amazing. How big is that TV in there? Like, it's nice to be at the same place this whole week. I think I'm going to keep making progress. I'm here just to do my laps, build, and take all the information that I can, and learn. That's what I'm here for.
Fair enough. Thanks, Max. Looks like he's having the time of his life and learning as he goes, Daniel.
Yeah, without question. Revista Moto.
Thank you, Daniel. Hey, Cameron McAdoo, a quick question for you. Are you surprised at the success your team has having in general? And does that put you in does the pressure that's on you now as a target, as a red plate leader, is that change the way you approach the next few races?
Actually, no, I'm not surprised that the success we're having. I mean, it's they've had a crazy amount of success in the past, right? Like, but it's new, right? It's new to me to be in this position, and that was one thing I was pretty proud of last night, was that I did approach the race day the exact same as I always would, and that's my plan moving forward. Like, obviously having a red plate for the first time, my first win was last weekend, or the prior weekend. So yeah, it was a lot at once, but I felt like I was really well with just keeping calm and doing my same thing that I did in the race day. Obviously the start was not ideal. That would maybe make you say differently if I blew it or not, but yeah, it's the same approach, right? We go there to do our very best result and be our best version of ourselves for that main event. So I think if we can continue to do that each weekend, and it should put us in a good place in Salt Lake.
Thank you.
Dan Lamb.
Yeah, I'll stick with Cameron for a minute. In that main event, did you hear Justin coming in hot there, and were you braced for impact?
Yeah, I actually, like I said, the 2 laps prior, I had a couple run-ins with some lappers, and I mean, especially these guys know how it gets with lappers at the end. Like, they're not really sure where to go, or, they might be racing for position or whatever. So I got slowed up a little bit, and then I went a little bit too far on the Dragon's back, and I had to go on off, and it was like pretty sketchy. So I felt him get right to my wheel, and I knew who it was, and I knew that he was gonna do everything he could for that position. So I knew there was a couple areas in the track that I was faster, and I wanted to try and get away. That way there was a lot of 180s that I knew that he was going to be coming underneath me in. And then where he passed me right before the white flag was down that rhythm lane with the Dragon's back in the quad, and yeah, he got underneath me, and then I was able to get him back, and I knew I had to protect every inside of every 180, and I didn't even know actually until I rewatched it, like with 2 corners to go, that he was going for it. He was going to come in fast. So I don't think there was really anything there that would have been possible or open for him to do. But yeah, it was close racing, and that's what we want, right? I want to race against these guys when they're at their best, and I feel that that's where they're at.
For sure. And after the race, you said something. You congratulated Seth and talked to him. Do you mind? What did you say to him at that point when you first got to him after the race?
Yeah, I was just like, dude, that was awesome. Like, congratulations, and he's earned it. Like I've seen kind of his whole transition into Supercross. He's gone through a couple rough years, obviously, with some injuries as an amateur, and this was his first Supercross season. So I was there at the test track in October when he started, and he's come a long way. Like, and he rides really good. He's a super good rider, and he's a humble kid and likes to learn and stuff. And it's cool to see that. And, I'm not a veteran by any means, but I've got a few years under me. So it was impressive, like, to see where he's come from October. And yeah, like I got into third and I raced that race, and I was like, you can't take anything from it. He crushed it. Like, he did so good the whole day. So it was cool to see that. And just the way he is around, to be around as a teammate, and he's a good kid. So it was exciting.
Nice. Yeah, you guys better watch out. His confidence grew every lap that made. You can see it. Thanks,
yep.
guys.
Alex Gobert, I'm going to come to you next, but I'm going to sneak one in here for Benny Bloss. Benny, obviously we're talking about the racing here, and I'm sure we'll get to that for you, but outside of racing, kind of an exciting time for you, man. How's it all going, this new chapter that just started?
It's going pretty good. Last week he came on Tuesday morning, and we didn't get out of the hospital till Thursday, and so my sleep wasn't exactly ideal headed into the weekend, but no, it's been awesome. I drove home last night and was able to see him last night and this morning, and it's probably the coolest experience I've ever had in my life, and it's just super, super exciting.
How's that timing? I mean, you're trying to balance this new excitement, but also racing too. I mean, how you juggling?
It's actually pretty good. I was really nervous in Daytona that he was going to come while I was there, and so just to come at the beginning of the week couldn't have happened any better. And especially being the races in Dallas, I only live 3 hours from Dallas, so able to come back in between each race and get a 3-week break after this. So I'm excited to spend some time with him.
Awesome. Alex Gobert.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, question for Chase. After missing 6 rounds of the season and then coming back, with at the halfway point, did you have any specific targets or goals that you'd set yourself over the course of this back end of the season?
Yeah, for me, mostly just trying to get back to racing and trying to get back up to speed. It's a little bit more difficult than I thought, especially in the 450 class. Everyone gets into such a groove, and yeah, it was Daytona. I got smoked. Went from like second or third to 8th, and was not happy about it. And came out this weekend. Wasn't super fast in practice, but felt really good on the bike and had an okay heat race. Got a bad start in the main event. Got a pretty good start. Found my way past a few guys and was in third for a while. Made a few mistakes, and obviously Jason got me. But I feel like that's kind of the kind of ride that's going to take to build. And for me, I just want to be up front racing the top guys because I want to compete for a championship next year. Those are the guys I'm gonna have to go through. So yeah, for me, just experience, and obviously I'd love to be on the podium and maybe get a race win. That's kind of the ultimate goal. That's why I train so hard. So for me, it's just getting better every weekend and just building off of yesterday.
Right on. Good to see you back.
Thank you.
Matt with MXP.
Host Matt Williamson, MXP Magazine out of Canada. The question is for Max Anstey. Basically, the question is related to fans. How have fans obviously got a huge following worldwide? how have your fans been reacting to basically your move to racing in the U.S. and how do you like the new U.S. followers? Have they treated you well so far?
Yeah, for sure. It's been great. It's been a nice thing to be able to give back to the fans in Europe, because at the moment there's no MXGP starting for another 2 or 3 months. Everything's been pushed back. Like COVID, I mean, we've talked about it a million times, but it's pushed everything, especially there for the World Championship. You know, going from country to country is really, really difficult. So honestly, it's just so nice to be able to race and to give the fans something to watch. I know it's at 3 o'clock in the morning for my buddies. I'm FaceTiming them, and even my mom and people like that. They're like, oh, we stayed up until 3 o'clock last night and just texting them and all of that stuff. So it's nice to give back to them because, you know, in Europe, I know you guys in America just see America, but America is a hell of a lot better with the COVID thing than it is over in Europe. Like Europe, you can't move from country to country, and everything's a lot tighter over there. Even riding's hard for my buddies that I talk to. So it's nice to be able to give back, and for sure the American fans. I mean, having Adam Enticknap around was helping, because obviously he's pulling in the fans. But yeah, I mean, we're not at full capacity and that kind of thing, you know, with the Supercross. But to be honest, again, for me, it's actually a nice thing, because it gives me less to distract me, so I can focus on the important thing, which is just me riding the bike and figuring the track out. I've got enough to think about as it is. I obviously want to learn, and then next year, hopefully things are normal and we do the signings and we do the normal signing sessions, and fans are able to interact a little bit more. And I am looking forward to that. But for right now, I'm actually pretty happy with it being pretty quiet on that side, so I can have a nap and think about what I need to think about.
Thank you.
Dark side.
All right, I got one for Dan Hubbard. As one of the newer guys in our, you know, on TV, media-wise, somewhat new to the sport, just what do you think of it so far, man? I know you're getting, you know, in your position, you get a lot of the same thing the riders do. You get a lot of keyboard warriors. I want to know what you think of our sport so far and how it's been for you.
Oh, I love it, man. I know we kind of joke about BMX and all that, and I love that. But when I was a kid, there was a BMX bike and an XR75 on our street, and the Martins down the street had that XR75, and changed my life, and it changed the trajectory of my brother's lives. And BMX and motocross were hand in hand, right? They went together. And so we rode motorcycles, wound up my parents. I was talking to Jeremy McGrath in the live broadcast, and Jeremy said, you know, my mom didn't want me to ride a motocross bike or a motorcycle until I was older. And so he didn't really start really getting into it until he was about 14. So he was into BMX. And that's kind of what happened to me, a little different trajectory. But when I was old enough, I bought a YZ 250. Before that, I borrowed my buddy's KTM 125 and rode out in Gorman, and went to Pismo Beach and rode. Took my YZs down to, I had a buddy with a YZ. We go down to Mexico and ride on the beaches. And then recently I went a couple times to Fox Raceway down in Paula and hit the vet track and rode Milestone on the beginner track. So I ride. I love it. I'm into it. I've been passionate about it my whole life since I was a kid, and it's the very reason I got into riding BMX is watching all the incredible riders in Supercross back in the day, and on any Sunday, and Bob Hanna, and you know, Jeff Ward was huge, and all the dudes. Johnny O was huge, and so I've been into it my whole life. To see it from the perspective of Race Day Live is a whole new world for me, right? I've been doing the live show for 5 years, so I've been hosting 5 years now on the live broadcast in the stadiums. And for me, it's a dream come true. When I get excited about the racing, that's genuine. And as far as what I need to learn and what I need to do better is maybe all those years when I was watching as a fan, the details and all the stats and all that kind of stuff that I wasn't really concerning myself with, just the passion of watching. I think I need to fill in that part and be a little more knowledgeable there. Other than that, man, my passion for this is through and through, and always will be, regardless of whether I'm working Supercross or on Race Day Live or anywhere. I'll never stop following the sport. I'll never stop loving it.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, man. I appreciate you carrying Race Day Live. You know, when Holly wasn't coming back, I was a little worried about it. You know, I mean, I don't know if Daniel can handle it all by himself. So you're carrying the show, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dark Side.
Love you,
Appreciate
Daniel.
you, man.
See what you did there, Dark Side. I like it. I'll play ball. David Iser, this one's for you. What do you really think about Kevin? No, I'm just playing. It is your question, though. It is your question. Go ahead.
Question, Dan. No, hey, Benny Bloss, this is congratulations too, adding to what Daniel said about your son Luca. He's either going to be a really tall motocrosser or a point guard. I guess those are his two choices at this point. Last year you missed a couple races, but the ones you did race in, you had some pretty solid results. What's missing this year to get you back to that level you know you can be at?
Honestly, I don't know. I've had kind of just like a string of bad luck, some crashes, and then this week I got something stuck in my sprocket, and so it was kind of making the bike weird, and I didn't want to take any chances with it. I'm really struggling with my starts. I've tried pretty much everything from first gear starts, second gear, different ways, foot up, foot down. Like, that's been a really bad part for me. This week I started dead last, and it's just with the level of competition that we have this year in the 450 class, you're not going to come from last to 10th. There's just too many good guys. And so I think if I could just get my starts down, it would be a lot easier for me. I felt like I've had some good speed. I need to start up there.
All right. Don't ask Justin Cooper for tips. All right, back to Daniel.
Michael Antonovich.
Cool. Thanks, Daniel. For Kyle Chisholm, you've stayed busy. You're one of the few guys in the, consistent 450 lineup that will find a side race to go do and stay sharp. You did the Pro Circuit Open at Dade City before Daytona. How is it for you to just keep clicking off these races, keep making these milestones of main event starts and everything like that? Because it's kind of second nature for you at this point. It just seems like no matter what position you get into, you figure out what you need to do, you get into the main event, and then you do the work there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just experience, just doing it a lot of times. But like you said, I just like to race. I enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge, like personally, the challenge, whatever, just to go do my best. So yeah, I raced like a local race Thursday before Daytona. I won that, made a little extra money. Yeah, like I said, I like racing. I enjoy what I do. I know I can't do it forever, and how much longer, I don't know. Because like I said, I'm definitely not getting any younger. And but yeah, just really enjoying it. And man, I surprise myself a little bit sometimes, but I work hard too. I think that's something that I maybe don't say enough or whatever, but I do work hard, and like all of these guys do. But I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. From the training, off the bike, on the bike, during the week, and then getting to the race and being out there racing with the guys. With the level of competition this year, like every year, but this year even more so, there's just so many fast guys, and just to be in the main event is pretty tough. With you just go down the list of guys that have won races or podiums or championships, and it's crazy. There's just a lot. So yeah, like I said, I just enjoy it, and happy to be out there. And it's, like I said, it's not easy, but for me, I think, like I said, just that experience and doing it a long time. I'm not the best practicer or qualifier, but when it comes race time, I think it's a little bit of instinct and strategy, and that, like I said, just comes from the experience of doing it a lot. So I try to use that to my advantage when I can, and yeah, let's go out there and have some fun.
Did you expect when you were like really early in your pro career that you would be one of those grizzled old vets that was just still doing it, like the Kyle Lewises and the Larry Wards and those kinds of guys?
No, to be honest, not at all. I definitely always thought, like, I'm definitely not racing past when I'm 30 years old, because that's old. I grew up like back more in my prime, whatever you want to call it. Like Nick Way was the older guy, and I beat towards the end of his career. I beat him most of the time, but he was like, to me, the old guy. I'm like, that old guy's not going to beat me, whatever. And sometimes he would, or he'd be close with me, and it's just funny because now I kind of look back on, I don't know, some of these guys like Benny. We joke every week. I'm that old guy. I kind of recognize that, but like I said, it's just you go through different phases of your career. I've kind of, like I said, I'm still enjoying what I do. So, like I said, I thought I wouldn't be racing at this age, but like I said, I really enjoy it still. And I think I enjoy it more now than I did back then, because not as much pressure and kind of I like my role, kind of what I am now. Now I'm the old guy, trying to battle with these young guys. So yeah, it's fun.
Thanks, bud.
Yep.
Kellen Brown, I'm going to come to you next, but I got one for Joey Savacci. Joey, I've kind of noticed this year that some riders will start putting together a couple of good rides where maybe the results don't match the way they're riding, and then all of a sudden it clicks. Like Plessinger is an example. Put together like 2 or 3 really good races that we didn't really get to see much of, and then all of a sudden he gets the starts and boom, it's like clicking. You feel like you're kind of getting into a mode like that right now too, where it's starting to all come together? Because I feel like the riding has been there, the results really haven't matched, but now all of a sudden the results are kind of catching up. Are you feeling that too? Like you're primed to go on a good run here, like this has been building?
I hope. I mean, honestly, like, it's really tough right now to get a bad start and do well. And, obviously having a good heat race is, I think, honestly, probably more important than even qualifying good. Like, obviously the field's cut in half. So even if you qualify, 15th or 18th, you still have a decent gate pick in the heat race. But if you come through the heat race and do well enough to get yourself, an 8th gate pick or better, like, you put yourself in a really good spot. And my heat races this year have not been the greatest. My speed has been a little bit down. Some of it is I've just been battling things and not being super comfortable. Obviously missing all of last year didn't help. And you forget, like, dude, these guys are quick and they're hanging out on the edge. So I'd like to think that I'm going to go on a streak, and obviously that's the goal, but starts are huge. And I think as long as I can get good starts and put myself in a good spot, then yeah, I think the results will come. It's just a matter of putting it all together throughout the day, and with qualifying, dude, I think I qualified 11th and I was half a second off of 4th. So it's like, it's one of those things where on paper it's frustrating, or mentally it's frustrating, and it's hard not to get caught up in it. You come off the track and you're like, dude, 11th. And then you look at times and you're like, well, dude, like, it's a half a second is, barely, it's a bike lane. And you're like, that would have been the difference between 11th and 4th. And so it's really tough this year. But for me, my starts are getting better and I'm starting to figure it out. And I think as long as I can keep doing that, putting myself in good spots, then I think the results will continue to improve.
Thanks. Kellen Brower.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. I'll stick with Joey on this one. You found yourself in the main event kind of battling with Kenny coming forward a little bit, and Dean was going backwards, but you're just like in that like mid-pack group, and you guys were all more or less running the same pace. How intense of a main event is that, where you guys are just nose to tail for that long for basically the whole 28 laps?
Yeah, it was one of those things. The first 2 laps or so was really chaotic. Just a lot of traffic jamming in the corners. Obviously the first couple lanes when you don't have the whole shot is a little scary, but yeah, I mean, it was good. It's one of those things, hindsight, I should have forced the issue on Kenny earlier in the race when I had the opportunity, and then tried to make the pass on Dean quicker. For me, I didn't force the issue with Kenny. Probably should have, and then Kenny got around Dean pretty quick, and then it took me a little bit longer to get around him, and then by the time I got around him, it was Kenny got away from me and I lost that toe. So, but it is very intense. I do miss the 20 lap days or the 15 lap days when it was pretty straightforward, but we're doing a lot of laps. So mentally, when you're getting ready to leave the gate, it's a long race. At the same time, it's very short. You put yourself in a good spot. The race goes by pretty quick, but you put yourself in the back, and it's chaotic. So, but it was good, just to be up there a little bit closer to the front like I want to be, and to get the full distance in and feel good about it was huge for me. So like I said, I think as long as I can keep getting the starts that I need to get and putting myself in positions, we'll be good.
2 more questions. MX Coob, will go to you, and then Revista Moda be the last one. MX Coob.
Hey, hello. This is Van from Germany. So it's my first time in this round. But a question to Cameron. A lot of riders told about the arm pump problems on the race. And how was it for you? And was it very heavy to hold this tempo and everything? Or yeah, because the next two rounds will be not easier.
Yeah, I usually don't struggle with arm pump really, so I don't. To answer your question, no, I didn't have arm pump from that track, or in general, I usually don't. So, yeah, I mean, some of those tracks that run up, I do think that maybe guys struggle a little bit more with arm pump, but it didn't actually even get that bad ruddy. So, yeah, no, I didn't struggle with that.
Yeah, thanks.
Last one, Revista Moto.
Thank you, Daniel. Hey, Max, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your experience with the GP season, traveling the world, and jet lag, I can only imagine. And then do you think your transition to Supercross or move to Supercross will open the floodgates or open the doors to GP riders coming to Supercross?
So the first part, traveling in America is a hell of a lot easier than traveling in Europe or worldwide. You know, you can fly from California to Florida and there's still a Whole Foods. You can still go to Target. You can still get the food. I know I'm just talking about food, but you can go and get the same things. Whereas, yeah, you fly to Indonesia and you've got a 5-hour layover. You're going to a random place and you learn to live off just rice and tin tuna. And actually, my team make fun of me all the time because that's all I eat anyway at the track is just rice and tuna, tin tuna. But that's just because I'm so used to it from GPs. It's bland, it's basic. I just have my nuts. I have my basic food. But yeah, like when you're traveling to these races, to Thailand, to Russia, to whatever, the traveling planning is a lot more. You can really make percentages if you travel at the right time. You're sleeping, you're getting your work done. I mean, that's why my wife, like a lot of the guys over here, it's weird. When we first came over, you know, my wife and I, we're a team. We've come together. We're here to get the job done. But in Europe, you know, she's down there on the Saturday when I've got the qualifying session. We've got a 30-minute session. So I'll do 10 minutes. The mechanic will come in, change a wheel. I go up with her, change my goggles, change my gloves, get ready, go back down again, or things like that. So and then she'll be planning the food as soon as we finish the race on Saturday, the qualifying race, we've got to plan everything to be ready for Sunday, and the whole travel. So it's a bit different. Whereas here in America, it's so short and it's just one day. And geez, I only use like one tear off all day, so you don't really need to clean up or do that much stuff. So yeah, that's the first thing. America is a lot easier on the traveling. Second question, will it open the door to Europeans? I think personally there's only a handful of people. The French race a bit Supercross. Jorge Prado, he's pretty good on Supercross. I know he did a bit with Trulli back in the day. I know Geyser wants to come over and do a bit, but there's not many guys that you could stick in Supercross. It's very, they get into their European way and the GPs, and it was something that I was lucky when I was a kid. I grew up and I raced Supercross in 2010. I did 1 year on Star Yamaha in 2010 when I was 16 and raced West Coast, and then I just ended up going to GPs. The deals came in, you're going for the more money, go here, and whatever. But I always tried to keep my hand in on Supercross. I had a practice track in England. It's not like this, but you know, I don't think there's many guys that can transition. So I don't think you're going to see many of them come over. Like I said, maybe a few of the French guys and maybe Geyser at some point. But I mean, he's probably getting paid enough to stay over there and fight for the World Championship unless someone's going to give him a hell of a lot of money. It's tough, and it's also very tough to move your whole life there in everything you know. The idea of it is a lot easier than actually doing it. But you know, I'm here to do my job, and I want to stay here, and I want to perform. I'm here to learn now, but I will be good at this Supercross thing. Maybe not really good this year, but I will figure it out and go racing with the boys at some point.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on this roundtable. Enjoy the day off and look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday. Thank you, guys.